Good morning and welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission. Today is Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. It is 9:26 a.m. after only some technical difficulties.
Correct.
Right.
However you want to say it, you just keep telling yourself.
True story, man.
But beyond that, we do have our public comment period. We do not have anyone signed up. So that being said, if one of you gentlemen would like to begin with the motions.
Upon review of the minutes of the September 18, 2024 meeting as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, motion to waive the reading and approve as noted.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of the exonerations as presented by the Nicholas County Assessor, move to approve accordingly.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of the estate and fiduciary matters as presented by the Nicholas County Clerk, move to approve unless otherwise noted.
That motion's on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon submission of budget revisions received from the elected officials and department heads, the commission will take the appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion does carry.
Upon review of invoices as submitted by the various departmental offices, the commission will take the appropriate action as deemed necessary.
That motion is on the floor. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion does carry. We do have some terms of office expiring here on the agenda today. The Nicholas County Parks and Recreation Commission. First off, do we have a replacement for Miss Kathleen Curry of the Nicholas County Parks and Recreation Commission?
Now, I do have a name, waiting on an answer back from him.
Okay.
We invited him to attend the last meeting so he could see, but he wasn't able to. Short notice.
Do we need to motion to accept her resignation? Or have we done that already?
Yeah.
I think we did that. We just don't have a replacement.
Yeah, it's been open for a couple months.
Steve Postaway, Gary Roberts, Aaron Bell, Michelle Underwood. Are they all willing to continue service? Okay. Does anyone have a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to accept their terms being extended for the period of time. 3 years, all of them 3 years.
Okay, that motion is on the floor to reappoint Steve Postaway, Gary Roberts, Aaron Bell, and Michelle Underwood to the Nicholas County Parks and Recreation Commission for another term of 3 years. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry. Now the fun part. Garrett Cole, term of office expiring October 15th, 2024. The Nicholas County Parks and Recreation Commission. I've heard he is.
That was in the motion. That was.
Oh, no, that's, I clarified your motion for you.
It was
Yes.
intent.
Oh, okay.
Paul doesn't intend count.
It does.
Hey, go back to what you're doing.
Everybody has.
Multi-pads.
But if you have a replacement for yours truly,
Yep, we're working that.
working on one.
Yep.
You want a motion to accept my resignation already?
We did that the last meeting too, didn't we?
No, it wasn't on the agenda.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Kind of.
I'll make a motion. Get rid of the kid.
An improvement to the park. That motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry. The Nicholas County Building Commission, we have Mr. W.D. Smith with a term of office expiring October 17th, 2024 for a 5-year term.
I didn't know anything about that. Let me look into it.
I'd like to table that as well. Is that okay, Commissioner Roberts? Okay. And that'll be it for now, right? So that being said, Ms. Lindsay Skidmore cannot be with us here this morning. The Executive Director of the Summersville Area Chamber of Commerce requesting for the Winter Classic Basketball Tournament financial assistance for them putting that on. And Commissioner
There
Chapman, I
would
know
be
you're a
a,
little bit
there
more
would be a
familiar.
sponsorship.
Sponsorship.
Yeah, they have different levels of sponsorship. And it brings in a lot. You can probably speak to that a little bit. But it brings in a lot of traffic, people. It was a huge success last year. I think we should help support it. I don't know where we could take funds from, probably coal reallocation. Because it'd be kind of an economic, it would be an economical boost. We'll probably spend all our hotel motel tax money on it.
Oh, yeah, it's committed to parks and CBB. You know what the levels of the sponsorship is?
I'm trying to find that letter I had.
10,000, 5,000, and down from there.
What all's down from there?
It goes down to 500, probably 100, I mean.
Here we go. We got 5,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000, 500, and 250. I think based on some of the other events that we've looked at and those sponsorships we've done with those, maybe okay with $1,000.
I'd recommend smaller because we have turned down quite a few sponsorships this year. Ferries that we sponsored before, we've never actually had a chance to sponsor this one, so I don't have a problem with doing it.
Your motion for that?
Well, that's just
Maybe two.
maybe two.
I was gonna say two would probably put us in line with like the triathlon and some of that other stuff.
Yeah, we've done that multiple
This
times.
brings in way more
Okay.
traffic.
So I'll make that. I'll make a motion, we go $2,000 on the gold sponsorship for the Winter Classic.
From coal reallocated.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, that motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion? When is that, just to, is it on there to announce?
Last week of December?
Yes.
Between Christmas.
Yep.
Okay.
Between Christmas and New Year's Eve. A lot of community involvement with that.
So that being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? The motion does carry. Up next, we do have Ms. Tracy McCoy, the Executive Director of the Visit Greater Summersville CVB, with an annual report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I know every year I usually come with a lot of information and I just read it or say it and it's a lot to take in. So this year I did something a little bit different. There is still a lot of information included in these
Just hand them
reports.
to him, he passes it out.
Oh, okay.
That'd be like
And so there is still a lot of information within this report. I'm not going to go line by line. This is something that you can take home and review. But I thought it was a lot of information that you guys should be interested in having. I am going to start off by reading the letter that I included on the first page. Greetings. I am honored to reflect on an extraordinary year of growth, collaboration, and overall success. Our collective efforts have positioned the greater Summersville area as a vibrant and sought-after destination for tourists from all over. Over the past year, we have continued to strengthen our partnerships with local businesses, civic organizations, and stakeholders. Together, we have created new opportunities for visitors to experience the best that the greater Summersville area has to offer, whether it's the breathtaking beauty of Summersville Lake, our renowned outdoor adventures, or the rich cultural heritage that makes our community unique. Our marketing efforts have focused on reaching new audiences and showcasing the greater Summersville area as a year-round destination. We launched several targeted campaigns that highlight our strengths, including our world-renowned outdoor recreation, unique dining and shopping experiences, small-town charm, our growing art scene, and an abundance of attractions and amenities. The results have been significant: increased visitation, improved brand recognition, and stronger economic impacts for our local businesses. Our community is also proving that we are invested in the future of tourism in the greater Summersville area through infrastructure improvements, new and improved community events, and sustainability initiatives that ensure the greater Summersville area will continue to grow as a sought-after destination for generations to come. Our focus on responsible tourism has been a guiding principle, promoting experiences that respect our natural resources and enhance the quality of life for our residents. As we look forward to the coming year, I'm filled with enthusiasm and optimism. We are entering an exciting phase of development in many areas of our community, with plans to further enhance the visitor experience, create innovative marketing campaigns, and continue supporting local businesses. I'm confident that through our shared vision and dedication, the greater Summersville area, which encompasses all of Nicholas County, will continue to grow as a premier destination. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to our community leadership, our partners, community members, and my board. Your support, hard work, and passion are the backbone of everything we do.
Patty.
Together,
Check
we
that
are
out.
building a bright future for the greater Summersville area. Thank you for your continued trust and Visit Greater Summersville.
Thank you.
So on the next page, we do show the rebranding that took place in this past July. While our name and logo has changed, our vision, values, and mission remains the same with a little wider scope. Our new logo is a colorful representation of Summersville Lake, the heart of our beautiful area. It also serves as an invitation to something greater. Join us as we celebrate all the wonders that Nicholas County has to offer. We are proud to present Visit Greater Summersville. And then on the next page, you'll see this is a listing of some of the paid media opportunities that we do take advantage of. Then on the bottom, it's Visit Greater Summersville by the numbers. There's a little information about our social media, email subscribers, our visitors guide distribution, and things like that. On the next page, it talks about some of the continuing education that I participate in throughout the year, so I continue to grow in my knowledge and experience. And below that is a sample of some of the memberships and partnerships that we do partake in as well. Of course, it's not all inclusive, it just kind of gives a general idea. And then the next page, Nicholas County findings. So the top line is visitor spending timeline with the amounts in millions of dollars. In 2019, you see it was $31.4 million. And in 2023, I'm excited to say it's $41.4 million. Down below that, you'll see the visitor spending by category. So in lodging, it was $4.53 million. Food and beverage, it was $11.69 million. Recreation, $6.73 million. Retail, $7.93 million. And transportation, $10.49 million. And then below that, it does give some information about employment. And then towards the end of that line, it shows that there's a tax savings of approximately $382 per household in Nicholas County. Below that, I referenced the hotel motel tax numbers for 2003-2024. The city hotel motel tax increased by approximately 21% from the previous year. The county hotel motel tax increased by approximately 8%. So overall, the greater Summersville area hotel motel tax increased by approximately 18.5% total. And that was from the previous year. The next page, I shared some regional information. As you guys know, we are part of the Mountain Lakes region. So on this top chart, it shows visitor spending timeline in the previous year, amount in millions. Starting out in 2019, it was $194.6 million. In 2023, it was $241.4, so we've seen a significant increase there. Down below that, it breaks out that $241.4, and it shows the breakout in your lodging, your food and beverage, your retail, your recreation, and again, your transport to total that $241.4 million.
And these numbers are based strictly off tourists?
Yeah, this is tourism numbers, visitor spending. In the next page, it goes on to talk about some information throughout all of West Virginia. So in 2023, West Virginia set new records for visitation and visitor spending. In 2023, more visitors came to West Virginia than ever before. Direct spending reached an all-time high, and tourism-supported jobs accounted for nearly 7% of all jobs in the state, and a total of $2.1 billion of income. West Virginia has seen a 17% increase in visitor spending compared to pre-pandemic levels, far higher than the United States overall 1% post-pandemic tourism recovery. So West Virginia is far, far surpassing that. So then there is some information below that talking about the visitors. Visitor volume to West Virginia rose 3.2% from 2022, and it reached 75 million visitors. And then below that again, it talks about the total economic impacts of tourism in West Virginia. And the next page again continues to show some graphics about visitor volume and then visitor spending. So in 2023, visitor spending in West Virginia was nearly $2 billion higher than in 2017. So it's definitely growing and increasing. And then the next page is a map of West Virginia, and basically it's just depicting that growth in all throughout West Virginia has been incredibly widespread. $7+ billion of economic impact, $887 million tax revenue generated, and 59,000 plus tourism jobs throughout the state. So basically just with, we're in a wonderful place. I feel like we're just gonna continue to grow. We're having all these wonderful things that are being implemented throughout our county, and then also nearby as well. So with the new national park, that's been absolutely phenomenal for us. I've been receiving a lot of international requests for information because of that. They say that they're interested in coming to the national park and they're attracted to what we have to offer, and the lodging, the amount of lodging and things like that we have, so they are attracted to come. So I've definitely seen an increase in international traffic and just general interest as well. So we're changing the narrative of our community from just being a drive-through from people traveling from north down to south and vice versa. People are actually recognizing that we're a premier destination itself and setting their trips to come here on its own. Or they're also adding time to their trip while they're traveling north-south or south to north. They're actually adding on days. So instead of just popping over at night in the hotel to like give themselves a break from driving, they're actually staying and seeking out what we have to offer. So I feel like that we're definitely in an exciting place because all we can do is continue to grow. And I'm very, very pleased to report that. And again, we're very, very thankful for your continued support. And we very proudly represent all of Nicholas County. If you have any questions, whether it be today, I'm more than happy to answer. And like I said, I know there's a lot of information in here, so please feel free to take that home. I do have a copy to leave, actually this one to leave on hand, so it could be filed within the commission office. But if anytime you guys have any questions about any of this information, please feel free just to reach out, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Yeah.
Okay. Very good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
If we could, let's put the trail system letter on pause because I still haven't heard from those folks. I don't know if we will today or not. I'm a little behind anyways. That being said, we're joined by Miss Amy Walker, the 4-H extension agent for Nicholas County concerning 4-H to propose holding a craft bazaar at the courthouse lawn in conjunction with the annual Christmas parade.
Yes. So, of course, 4-H is about teaching the youth to have skills that they can carry on throughout their lives. So one of the things that we would like to launch is sort of a entrepreneurship craft program. So we have some workshops that will work with the kids, give them some skills or improve on the skills they already have. And the idea behind this is we have a lot of kids that are very crafty, sit at home, that's a hobby for them, but they may not have enough product to justify paying for a table at a craft show. So this is where 4-H could step in and we would sponsor the table. The kids could kind of co-op all of their products, whether they have 3 items to sell or they have 20 items to sell. We would work with them on how they would market those items, label them, price them, any of those pieces that they would need on that kind of entrepreneur side, and then have the craft tables. We're looking at Richwood, the Career Center, Summersville, City of Summersville does their Arena Conference Center, all of those locations that we could potentially have tables with these kids working at it. So we also thought during the parade, we understand it's outside, it might be cold, probably will be a little chilly, but the thought is that would be something that 4-H could also provide, that if we could put some tables out for the 4-Hers as well as if we would be allowed to sell booth space, then that money from what we sell at the booth space, we'd be able to put back into the program to help, one, pay for those tables that we sponsor at other craft events, as well as put back into supplies to hold those workshops for those kids to be able to get some of those skills and continue on. And this is just a precursor to, we're looking at getting the craft center out of the park, that we would be teaching more extensive classes with the kids with that. So this is kind of the precursor to being able to lead into that craft program. So just a request if it would be permission to have, not only have our tables there, but as well as if we would be allowed to sell for $5, $10 booth space for other crafters to come in and be able to set up as well during the parade, a little bit before the parade and during the parade.
Any comments, questions, concerns? I don't have a problem with it, as long as you are willing to, especially if you want to bring in the other vendors, if you are willing to administer that.
Yes, we will certainly manage everything and kind of lay out what spaces would be available size-wise, take the applications, place them, manage all of those pieces.
Clean up the mess I did.
Yes, and definitely clean up the mess after, yeah, there's any sort of mess.
Please.
Yeah, we would definitely make sure that would all be cleaned up. And knowing the timeline of with the parade, work towards the night, if there would be any electric available that we would need to know about to offer potentially for the vendors and have
Yeah,
that.
There's some receptacles.
Honestly, Rodney and Patty can tell you better than me.
Yeah, so that,
but
that would
there is
definitely,
plenty
I'd talk
out
to them and
there,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what spaces, have electric, what wouldn't have electric kind of thing,
Absolutely.
and work with them on all of that.
Yeah. Otherwise, sounds good to me.
Motion to approve the request.
Okay, that motion's on the floor. Is there any further discussion, questions, comments? You're sitting in Greg Tucker's seat. Anything from legal counsel? Okay. All right, that being said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry. So, very good. Thank you for your time this morning. Concerning the quote, Ms. Neff, for the assessor's office electrical issue.
Yes.
That's why I'm here. That and to do your assessment.
Mine?
Double duty, right?
Double duty. Under subpoena.
I got my $3 for my dog tax. So, Assessor Dennison could probably explain better than me, but basically we have some antiquated electrical systems in his office that would be a fairly simple fix. We just need to look at making sure we do it right this time, pretty much.
The situation we have in our office is that we have 4 different offices that's on one breaker circuit. Okay, on this one breaker circuit that I'm aware of is 7 computers and 1 printer. And what happens with the situation is when it overloads, kicks that breaker, it throws all 7 off. And then we have a time period of 15 minutes to 20 minutes before everything can load back up. And I have people in there doing supplementals. I got personal property, girls keying, I've got real estate people keying, and it just messes everything up. And it's not that complicated of a fix. There's spaces on the box that another breaker could be replaced in there and split the 2 offices. So that way, if in the situation, if one breaker would kick, I still got 3 to 4 that's up, and we can continue to work. It's just a bad situation the way it is now, and it just, what's happened is over time, because of the courthouse, with the wiring and everything, and then with what has been brought in, put on those circuits, it can't handle it. So that's basically it. And the quote on it, I looked it over, I didn't see anything that is out of line as far as costs, because they gotta rerun the wires, reset the breakers, redo the outlet strips. So there's work that has to be done. It ain't like just put a breaker in for
Yeah.
$3,000 or whatever it was. 32 or something?
Well, and Maintenance Director McClung did get this quote from Disciple Electrical Company of Mount Nebo for a total of $3,479.40.
That's $3,500, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's just something that you really should look at, because it's just a bad situation all the way around on that, to have that many offices on that. And I don't even know what else may be on there. But I just know I got 7 computers go down one time, and it's a pain to get anything done. And it happens often, especially when we was busy this summer. That was one of the big things, because we had everybody on different computers doing different, different types of work that they had to do.
I don't have a problem with it. It is under $5,000, which we've agreed to, that we don't have to receive bids on. There's no mandated requirement we put this out to bid unless it's $25,000. And so I think it is good to take this up for consideration today.
You good with this estimate, should we do more? Only reason I say that, we have work on them right now that we're gonna have electricians do already. So we'll get a bid from them too. Upstairs.
Yeah.
Where I mean, you're okay with that. Maybe the same
How fast would
electrician.
they be able to do it?
I really don't have a problem either way. What'd you ask? I'm
I said,
sorry.
how fast would they be able to get to it? We definitely get that taken care of, probably quickly.
He has called and questioned whether or not anything had been done this point.
Right.
And you could delay it, but it's just gonna cause more problems.
Yeah, heartache and drama,
I mean, if you got some other outfit working on something, whenever they get that done, and then if something else happens, then you continue it, and just not solve the problem. That's the only thing I don't, I'd have a problem with, going down again. Because it hasn't happened just one time, gentlemen. It's happened several times in the past 2 months.
And this guy can go run one.
According to our maintenance director, Mr. McClung, which you could ask him and make him aware of if the decision's made that you want it done now. So, and if he doesn't meet the timeline when he says he could do it, fine, you lose the bid. We'll find somebody else. But I don't know what the money situation is there. I just know that the money didn't look out of the line for what had to be done with the amount of warring and doing the split on the offices and stuff. And he did come in and look at everything, the box, to see if it had worked. So he actually did a physical inspection before he did a bid.
The service is quoted as 16 electrical and lighting. Is that 16 outlets plus light fixtures?
Anything that may be attached other than our computers. My concern is the computers, which is off of those outlets, and they would be, the only question to have, it's not direct, is it surge protector outlets or that's in it? But that's why I said that's where Rodney would be more aware of it.
If we were to do this, I'd probably request on this one again to get a more detailed scope of work.
Yeah, just outline it specifically. Yeah, pardon.
I'll make a motion that we accept this estimate to get this underway.
That motion's on the floor. Any further discussion or questions? I would like a more detailed scope of work before we begin.
Of what's to be put in, like
Yeah.
surge protect outlets.
Yeah. Not just 16 electrical and lighting. I don't know what that means. Yeah, that's why I want a more detailed scope of work, so that'd be my only request if that's okay. Okay. Let me say any other further comments or concerns, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against? Motion does carry. Let's go ahead and recess. I'll work on this later. Their next appointment's not until 10:30. We're here now at our appointments. At the request of the commission, elected officials regarding discussion on wage and review board for county employees. we have a room full here of a lot of the elected officials and some of the department heads from specifically county offices. We did not include offices like the magistrates and the circuit court because, of course, they're not part of us anyways in that regard. We have a issue here in the county of being able to retain staff sometimes and also find staff. It's become a revolving issue. We've worked diligently alongside Sheriff Nunley and Chief Evans concerning trying to fix the issue at the Sheriff's Department. We still have room to go there, of course, as well, but for the rest of the departments, you know, something's gonna have to give in any regard. And so that is the reason we wanted to put this on the agenda here to discuss the Wage and Review Board itself. Any ideas to improve it, replace it, or anything in between. And so, is there anything you would like to start with?
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
Since we're talking about employees and things like this, does this not need to be an executive session?
I don't believe so, in my opinion. I wish Greg was here, because I'm not sure.
I mean, Paul could
So the
probably.
discussion I would think about the Wage and Benefit Review Board itself, if that's all we're talking about, is a public issue. If it's an individual matter of employment, then you might want to be an executive session. But if simply you're limited to the Wage and Benefit Review Board, that would be a public issue. Now, if you wanted to again talk about individuals, I'd say that's executive session.
So keep it as kind of a broad stroke.
So I worked 32 years in the private side, and when I came into the courthouse here a couple of years, almost 2 years ago, it was really confusing to me. I had never seen a non-merit-based pay structure ever. One of the things that I talked about in a few of the points that I had addressed is, there's no way to reward your better performing employees versus your poor performers. I'm trying to say that word at the same time. And I know, like, when I was in the white-collar side, we would get 5% of our budget, and I could distribute that amongst the employees. So if one person got 7%, the other got 3%. So it had to average out at 5% per employee. And what that allowed me to do was to actually reward my higher-performing employees versus them coming straight down if they get an across-the-board pay raise. And I think there's no real way to differentiate that. And also, as a manager, as a hiring manager, and as one of the area managers with my previous employer, is I did not feel that it was fair for upper management to set those levels based on on just the fact that everybody gets a pay raise across the board. That was my thoughts coming into this, was to give the elected department heads or the officials more control over the pay and let there be a little bit of differentiation, because we have some folks that actually deserve a pay raise, but we have a lot. Everybody deserves a pay raise. Let me back up with that. But if you look at some of the duties with regards to the amount that they're compensated for, there's some adjustments that need to take place, I think, based on risks, based on just workload, things like that, physical workload, and especially if some things require degrees or any sort of college education. And there's, if you come in and you say, well, we want to give this person a pay raise because they've attained this skill set or this new level or this additional duty, then everybody gets one. So that was kind of my thoughts.
So let me help you out a little bit with that thought, Commissioner. So West Virginia Code 713DD lays out the authority to establish the Wage and Benefit Review Board. But to your point, the county commission, and they did at some point, I think in 2000 or in that roughly a range, establish a Wage and Benefit Review Board. But it was also to establish a uniform, and I'm just quoting from the law, employee salary scales with ranges of minimum and maximum figures for each type of position within the county. Compensation within and between each salary range shall be based on merit, commensurate with experience, education, and demonstrated job performance. Job descriptions for each type of position, including assistants, deputies, and employees not covered by the civil service system. And then, of course, it lays out vacation policy, sick leave, and those things to be established. So then whenever you review this current Wage and Benefit Review Board, it doesn't do any of that. It literally says everybody gets the exact same amount. I think the one I hold says starting pay is $1,950. I think that that has been changed. I think that's where Mr. Painter told me that number had been changed, although it does not reflect it in whatever I'm holding here, which is the actual establishment, it appears, of the Wage and Benefit Review Board. It's a manual. This purpose of this manual is to set forth basic guidelines. It does not cover for every conceivable employee situation. So I just have possession of this. It's not titled, it's not bound, but it does appear to be what I'm telling you is the origination of this Wage and Benefit Review Board. But nowhere in this document, and none that I can find in the county, establishes job descriptions, what educational requirements may be required for each one, much less how then the elected official whose salaries are set by statute, how do they reward, like you're talking about, staff that perform, or how do you draw in new staff? So the law literally says that you're supposed to have those things. I would defer to people who've been here longer than me as to how that all got established and what the need for it was. Whatever I might say here would just be rumor, and probably before I became an attorney.
They tried to do that.
So when we established that, they did not want to go back and do job descriptions and say that, you know, one of the girls in yours office job is more important than what I do in Debbie's office. That would have caused dissension among the employees. And then if somebody in your office was getting paid more than me, then I would want to jump ranks from Debbie's office and come over and do your work. And I mean, I'm sure each elected official thinks that, you know, their employee's job is more important than somebody else's job.
And I would hope that is 100% not true.
But the bottom line is, none of these offices can work without the assistance or, you know, help with the other offices. We all work together, and in some part, all of our jobs rely on someone else's office.
We're interdependent.
Yeah, so, I mean, everybody's job's important, and then you would have to, I think you would have to get, that was something else, you would have to get an outside source to come in and set up these job descriptions and help, you know, figure out how those pays should be different.
Does that know what the
Depending on
code
what
is
you do.
requiring?
It does require that. And so while I understand Mandy's position, the law says that there should be those things established. Whether that be fair to anyone or not is a separate decision-making process.
I think that's just why they've done that.
I can understand that. Let
When
me add
they,
this.
the
So
elected
then
officials,
this
when they
Wage
done
and
that.
Benefit Review Board, or the salaries set out in it, do not match inflation. And I'm not talking about a political period of time over the last 3 years. I'm talking about for 20-some years. And then when you have someone today that, I'm fortunate, I have one person that has a college degree, and she's very happy to work there. But she started out at $27,000. Well, you can go to be a magistrate assistant at $49,000 a year with absolutely no different qualification. Do not have to have a college degree. You can go work for the public defender and make $34,000 a year. It's no different requirements, no educational requirements, just you know somebody. That's literally how that works. The secretary for the circuit court judge. These are Supreme Court salaries now. They're not county based. But I think that's like $50,000 or $55,000.
Family court, I think, is like 40.
So you have these, so when, what Mandy brings up is that, yes, if there was a salary range that you guys would decide the budgets of each office, and that budget might be based upon what I and or the elected official believes their staff is worth, there will be jumping of ranks. I don't disagree with that, but that's going on right now when you can get yourself a Supreme Court job. Or you go to the public defender. Now, that's just a staffing issue that I know exists. And again, I'm fortunate. I filled 4 spots and there seems to be happy. I will see how that goes, but
At one time, we did sit down and try to,
2008, Wage and Review Board appeared and to set up the classifications for the jobs in the offices, and each elected official was to do a breakdown on responsibilities and duties of each employee and what job situation they had. And we did, or I know I did, I got the file, it's downstairs. And then nothing was ever went past that point to do anything to get it in the manual itself. Actually, the wage and review manual needs updated. Now, I'm not bashing the wage and review
No, by no means, no. It's like-
because I think it's good to have the base. You have to have a base. That's a base. And then you can go from there to do whatever you're talking about with your job classification, especially to be West Virginia code. But this all come about in 1997 for the simple fact that there was nothing. And Ernie Dennison or Debbie Faithful or Paul Williams would come before the commission. It would approve money to run the office that they was over, and also for any type of raise that may be requested. And it was up to the approval of the county commission to allow that. What happened over time, for whatever reason, each individual office, sometimes 2 offices would get money, other time 2 offices wouldn't. It threw the balance out on the pay scale to where an employee's only making $800 in one office, $1,000 in another office, and it was looked upon like favoritism on whoever the public official was in the best graces of the county commission. So this was formed to eliminate that. And it was also because it protected the commission because they had a base, and the public official because they have a set base salary that you would be paid across the board for county employees. And it worked. It worked as far as on the seniority part, because everybody worked the same amount of time, no matter where you were, got the money. But then when it was brought up on the qualification side is when it stalled and nothing was ever put in place. Even though I've been in 2 or 3 wage review meetings, set these up, and nothing was ever done. Now, could something be done now? Yes. And the question that I have, I can say who gets what money because I know my employees. I know who works harder. I know who has more responsibility. Therefore, yes. The problem that comes in, will that money be available from the county going forward to where they keep receiving that pay?
Because now you can look at this wage and review board, and every elected official knows what their budget's gonna be for the year. You all can look at the budgets and see, okay, we need to make sure this money is in there for the allowed raises that are gonna be coming up. And I mean, you can look at that 20 years into the future, how much, roughly, what your salaries and what you guys are gonna have to cover with your budget.
But the problem is, we're not able to find people to take these salaries.
Well, and I don't, that's a base
It's the new hire.
level raise, not just a, I mean, Debbie
Yeah,
has
I
problems
wanted to
finding
bring in
anybody.
the salary as established 20 years ago is insufficient.
Yes.
So that's just simple. That's, and I know it was raised from maybe not 20 years ago, a few years ago, but it's still insufficient.
Right.
Still,
And then, I prepared myself to say this to you, if you didn't know, that Logan County and Montague County public employees have unionized. And so Logan County Commission is now going to have to face the UMWA. The Mon County just did that Friday. Logan County will use Steptoe and Johnson, and I've seen the lawyer, and it's in the article, this isn't just stuff I know, you can find it. He's quoting West Virginia educational law that you can't unionize. But you know what happened with the teachers that went on strike? They unionized, they went on strike. Well, that's going to occur in Logan County. And again, I just happened, like the news came out October 1st, that Montague County unionized. through the UMWA. Well, once that starts spreading, and I'm just preparing everybody, that could come from anywhere. Not saying it was gonna happen, but now that we're at this meeting where we have this is on the table. And for instance, at least the news article is that Logan County had a $19 an hour across the board. So everybody's making 38,000, give or take, dollars a year, and I just reading the articles, I didn't call anybody to verify any of that. But so if the unions have now selected these counties and they start reaching out, then it's probably gonna be more than 2 counties. So I just prepare everyone in here, and you guys who set the budgets, to be prepared, that may come.
There has to be a way though, that if you, like, the employees need more money, I agree. But there has to be some way with even the system that you use. But that is not going to solve the problem unless you can figure out how to have the funding, have it in place to where whenever we could say, do anything, give $500 a month pay raise to anyone. But if the money is not there consistently over the next few years or from now on, that's where the issue is. Where are you gonna get the money to do it? I agree with it, but I don't want it to put it in a situation where I've got an employee and in 2014 the county goes broke. I have to lay off 2 people. And then they don't have no money.
In 2014, you're referencing, that did exactly happen.
Yes.
That was before any of the
Yes,
commissions
it
that's
happened.
are currently existing, and I wasn't a prosecutor, and
We lost $77 million assessed, over $4.2 million cash. And what happened was the coal mining industry pulled all their equipment out, mining went down, we lost all that money, deputies got laid off, all departments lost people,
every single department.
every single department, and they went on how many employees you had by percentage. Mine was 2. I still haven't got one back. See, that's another thing. We can talk about giving more money or whatever. The assessor's office right now since 2014 has been running with the people they lost, and I had 2 more employees in 2014 than now.
We're now down to 10 deputies.
The tax department had 1.
There were 4 prosecutors
We
and
haven't
4
got any
staff.
of those back.
So due to the
But
rumblings and grumblings,
That doesn't fix our issue
Right.
of, we've got to be able to retain what we have now.
Right.
We gotta stop
And
spending.
we have to be able to retain what we have now and give competitive, fair wages to the people who deserve it. And something has to be done across the board. And it's not gonna be with everyone. I mean, you can't be with everyone, but there needs to be some kind of structured pay for specialty positions within the county that does have more responsibility than others. It's just like the tax office that we just hired for chief tax deputy. We threw that out, the chief and I, Sheriff-elect, we threw it out to everybody that we could think of in this, that works for the county, to try to fill that position. We couldn't fill it with him. Nobody wants to jump from this job to a man who's $12 million a year for the same pension. I mean, they just don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. So we did, we had to hire from outside. And one of the interviews I did with a girl that was very, very qualified. When I interviewed her and I asked her, I said, you know what the pay is? And she said, no. So I told her the pay and she said, that's poverty.
Yeah.
I said, yes, ma'am. I'm embarrassed to tell you the pay, honestly.
And Tahara Jim
But,
with the family, that,
I think we have found a good fit, but then again, are we real keeping?
yeah.
That's the question.
So the other thing that
I always come
I
prepared.
challenged myself to bring it up, and I
I'm gonna
will.
give you
that,
guys some food for
Other than
thought.
Ernie's office, most of these salaries are affecting women. And I am fortunate in what I think that I might get agreement with her, I might not. I have to find a woman who has a husband that has a job. And they come to me because they want insurance. They're willing to accept less than they probably deserve. But you do have a good insurance program right now that's not guaranteed you'll be able to afford to pay. like you did.
Right. Well, you have some families, I mean, I bring home more money than Jennings does, so I mean,
But
and you
there's-
have that, just like when
But
Debbie.
there's two of them.
Right, right.
So,
But it's still not.
my point is, it's hard to hire a
These
single
are some areas of
With kids.
concern.
because she's the sole breadwinner, and at $27,000, that is positive living. She can't make a living.
Obviously, that is an area of concern, but I
So
only have one copy
if-
of that.
Sure.
For lack of a better way to say it,
Yes, ma'am.
like what you were reading there. So is there a way, and I'll just go call that the bylaws. So where we're having issues is like what we said, is retaining but hiring too. You know, what they went through at the tax office, but we're going to face with a couple of things we got to do. Is there a way to, from listening to you, maybe we can change that bylaws to where we have this base hiring like we do now, but upgraded, but we can throw in some titles or something to where we have to hire a person that's with the skills, with the things that can still be governed under that, but we can hire, we don't have to hire everybody at the same amount.
Well, I am suggesting that you do that. Now, what I hear from Mandy, though, is that might not be fair to her personally, but this is a government that needs to be set up for the future. This isn't just to keep Paul Williams or to keep any person. And then whether the job descriptions and your willingness to pay for whatever they are in individual offices, this needs to be set up to go forward. What you have right now is not viable in a future, with the future without any of you three. So there's got to be some agreement that there are positions that should require a higher pay or actually do require a higher pay. And some people are going to be hurt because they're here today. But that's not what we're setting this up for the future.
So, well, Kim, one idea that I had was, you got your base, whatever you set it at, then you could take and, if the money's available, and it's gonna be available, that's the most important thing. But then each office holder would have a certain amount of money that goes strictly to the employees that they have. The assessor would have the qualification, job qualifications, and where that money in that pot, then he would assign it who would get that by their work duty and responsibilities.
I think that's what we're
That's
trying
what
to do.
merit-based.
Then I think,
Then the employee comes back on me, not on you or not on whoever.
I don't
100%.
think that, yeah, but it's not, I think it needs to be said that this is what's gonna happen. In each office, you can have, first of all, we don't have to have a college degree. If you wanna hire a college degree, I don't think that should give you
I
more
do.
money.
I have to.
Well, I 100% think it should.
But then, yes, but if you wanna come to work for the county and you're taking a job that you don't have to have a college degree, I shouldn't be giving you extra money because you got a college degree.
I don't.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna
But
be,
it's probably for criminal law and we're doing estates. I mean, it's not even
yeah,
relevant.
but if we did it that way, it'd be, there wouldn't be no comparison with Debbie's employee
Yeah, or hers. would be
to an
separate.
assessor employee to a
Right.
deputy, because the department head
Right.
is the one has the responsibility of setting the money or whatever. So then you wouldn't have a comparison of which office you worked in. Because Paul Williams would get $50,000 additional money on his salary each year, and then he has to distribute it to the employees that he feels have the most responsibility or job duty. Then you can't say, well, I'm a secretary and I work for the assessor. I'm a secretary, I work for the county clerk. Because that's just base pay.
But then someone
Office
says they don't
north.
like you and you're not paying them.
Huh?
I think we need
Well, if they don't
classification.
like you, that's
I mean,
part of
no,
being
that's
a
what
big boy.
No, I'm just saying, well, they didn't give me no money because.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing that's gonna do is if you give like, Paul $50,000 extra, he's a nice guy. So what if he just splits that between every one of his employees and you're back to the same thing you're at right
Now
now?
that's where the amount of money that's distributed's gotta be done in a manner of the number of employees or whatever, the number of employees you should have. And then the department head would put it out. The biggest problem you're gonna have keeping that money available in the future.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what you're gonna have a problem with.
Yeah.
Sure, if you give an extra $50,000 every year, they feel it next year, you give them another extra 50. I mean, somebody's getting some good raises.
So one of the easiest things for us to do is just say, okay, thanks folks, and leave it in place. I mean, I want to put that out there right off the top. Due to some of the rumblings and grumblings, we were trying to come up with something, you know. And the discussion today, I think, is what's going to, you know, tease out that evidence and the factors that we need to take into consideration. But that was our thing, was to try and unbind the department heads and the elected officials to allow them to have a little bit of freedom within their department. That way you don't have three people sitting here to determine who, you know, how much your people make, or your people, that type of thing. And we don't even know the merit.
Besides the elected officials, right? I didn't know Debbie's got to hire college graduate.
For courtroom clerk.
I didn't know, okay? And now in my office, I don't have to have a college graduate, but I like a paralegal, I do. I mean, that's sometimes a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, but I don't have to have that. Let's just be clear, I don't have to have that. But like the sheriff's department, there are departments that require a 4-year degree to be deputies. Now, I haven't heard Billy say that's a requirement, but there are requirements in different departments for that particular, they have to have a degree in. I guess we do that here. Now, my assistants, which aren't part of this, of course, have to have a college degree. They're not even part of this wage and benefit. All I'm talking about is just the 4 and women I have in my office.
But who knows more about the office than the public official?
Right.
On where the money should go.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know, a lot of offices, we help each other. I mean, like, the girls that work in our office, we help each other. You wait on the counter, like, even though Betty might be in charge of the states, if somebody walks in and you say, may I help you? You end up doing that, you wait on that person. Just like me, I do mostly the divorce stuff. But I'm in the back now, so whenever somebody steps up to the counter and they have a divorce to file, somebody else might take it in.
Well,
So it's, you know,
That'd be the
If the
benefit of the
close-
job description.
That's right, and that'd be benefit to Debbie, say, all my girls do the same thing, give them, I got $10,000, I got 4 employees, I'm splitting it with all 4 of them.
And if you wouldn't do that, then somebody like where I do, you know, I do our monthly reports. I balance our checking account. Well, what if I need help finding something? And somebody says, well, I'm not helping you, you get paid to
Well,
do
you're
that.
gonna have
You
it.
figure it out.
That's
I
the
mean, and
boss's position.
what's
That's why
going
you're
on.
paid to be the boss. That's why you're elected, is to
Yep.
manage those positions.
You're
When
gonna
you get
call,
to smaller stuff.
right, you're
You
gonna
know.
call some of that in your office, but
Yeah, it's gonna,
if I've got, like, in my financial officer, should make more money. She's responsible for it. I've got, like, if I wanted to pick up a mapper, okay, like our mapper, whatever's my chief on the real estate side, he gets $500 more a year or a month, but that's being a department head. But a mapper in the money situation in the common world, you can go to the next county and make double the money. So you've got to figure out some way to keep them. If you don't keep them, you're not gonna find another.
And I'll say that
That's like
nasty
what
word
they're
called
talking-
Needs to be
nepotism
a
is what
training
keeps
house.
people employed in this county.
Exactly.
If you know somebody, you get a job. And I'm not, again, I keep hearing Mandy, but like, I'm talking, let's take this out of our personal, today's feelings. What will happen in the future? I know that she would be offended if someone in my office made more, but that's gonna happen in life. That's gonna happen wherever you go to work.
And you know, people want that because they don't want to be able to come here and work for the county and not have an opportunity to go somewhere else to make more money within the county. That was another question I had from that woman was very qualified. Then I told her to pay, and she said it was poverty. She said, what is the chances of having room to be able to move up from there? I said, the pay's all the same.
Yep.
She was like, and very, very qualified. I mean, probably would make a great fit.
And on the civilian side or the private side, I literally sat beside a gentleman in California at a desk and we done the exact same job. I was a tech 2, he was a tech 1, I made $12,000 a year more. I mean, that's
This
the
is
real
like-
world.
I've been in the
That's
private
the real
industry.
world. We've done the exact same job every day. But on the private side, it's easy because your employees are told not to discuss pay. That's the first thing I always tell my people. Talk about the squirrels in the trees. Do not discuss your pay because, like you said, your hearts and feelings makes people mad. But it's based on tenure, based on qualifications, based on education. I mean, I literally done the exact same job. We manned the same desk.
Well, I've had a situation where I
Which is very
couldn't hire an employee because they said, well, I can make more working earning for the wage. And this was 20 years ago when I was looking for an appraiser.
And I think there's a couple of factors, just like Paul said, you know, we need to figure out where that entry level needs to come in so we can actually attract folks. And then we need to figure out how to make it sustainable, as they both said, in the long run. I mean, I think our goal was to give some freedom within the department heads. And I think that's where a good collaborative effort and a good cohesion between the department heads, commission, however you want to term that, where it comes into play. And we can sit down and have these discussions once a year collectively and through a collaborative effort come up with something that we can actually afford, as Ernie says.
The only thing
And that's
that
the
you
problem I
told me
still
is-
have with Ernie, or not with Ernie, but like what he keeps saying, I know. Like you have to have the money. I know that.
And the only reason you can get the people in here is what Paul said, insurance, and you got a great package of 15 vacation days and
Holidays.
18 sick days. If you break it down hourly, the pay's not that bad, hourly. But that's not the way we pay. Because, you know, most employees, they're 8-hour shifts, they get paid for lunch, right? Okay? Actually, so you're working 7. See, in the private sector, you wouldn't get paid for your lunch.
Correct. You get a 15-minute break every 2 hours, a 30-minute lunch on 6, and a 15-minute break. The 2 15-minute breaks are paid, your 30-minute hour lunch is not paid. So you're gonna pull 8.5 hours to get paid for 8.
Right.
Yes.
We get a lot of employees, and I can look around at, because we know each other. I mean, that's a sincere thing. You've got people who do want to stay here,
Right.
Right.
and they'll take a little less money. That's how you get people.
Right.
But you're not gonna draw people out of Fayette County, Raleigh County, Kanawha County. They don't wanna move here, and they can't afford to move here just because of the salaries that exist, the money that exists.
They draw them from us. Because I know we got the mapper in Fayette County, lives in Nicholas County, another month.
So if we go back to the starting pay, which is.
It's 27, right? Probably.
2,200 a month. Okay, so we want to jump that to 25, or 2,500 a month, let's just say. In order to do that as a starting wage, do we got to go back to all the existing people and give everybody a $3,000 a year raise in order to make it fair?
That's where I,
300.
I think it's a job
2,200,
description issue.
2,500 is 300.
I have, so Stephanie
Yes.
in my office
Oh,
has been
I
here
see,
23
We're looking
years.
at different-
You know, and she started, generally speaking,
Right,
right when all this
60.
started. So I think she makes 34,000. And yet, when I have, my name of Brady, you know, she was making 30-some thousand. She went right to the magistrate assistant, makes $49,000, and that, she turned that down once, and I won't tell you why, but she turned that down one time, and she wasn't gonna do it twice. You go to the public defender, I tried to get some staff out of the public defender office, well, they have to take $7,000 pay cut, just whether they like me or not.
I mean, I've been here 30 years and I could go straight over to work for Harley as his secretary making what I'm making right now, starting.
But you lose your time.
Yeah,
Well, and that's, the time does matter, the retirement, insurance, I know it does.
So you
But
gotta
when
look at
when you're
that.
coming down, to, like, so what your question is, at some point, I don't know all the budget numbers you guys have to deal with. I know what I bring you, and I don't even know what anybody else gives you. So I don't wanna speak out of turn about that.
Debbie's too.
But if you're going to try and up the beginning salary, there are people who've been here 30 years, 15 years, 20 years.
Well, if we're gonna talk about retention,
Right, So I don't know how, I
Be
mean,
across
I know
the
what you're
board.
asking, and the answer will come from you guys who see all the numbers and know what you can and can't do. But to offer someone new more than someone who's been here 5 years, which is what $3,000 would do, because it's only $50
Increments.
increments for
Every 2
longevity.
years.
Yeah.
That's hardly enough for me to buy a 12-pack.
Well, I mean, really, when you break it down to $25 a paycheck, you might see $15 out of that raise. I mean, 12, so.
And that's where we are right now. And that's what we're trying to address. You know, like, how can we do that in a systematic manner? But tomorrow, if they decide they want to raise minimum wage to $20 an hour, the folks who are already employed at something, they're not gonna bump them. A private company's not gonna bump everybody an extra, whatever that ends up being, $12 an hour. They're just not gonna do it. I mean, so where do you find that entry point where you don't disrespect your existing employees? You know, you definitely don't want the entry level to surpass what they're currently making, but you bring them up to that point, and then you kind of give everybody a start from there. I don't know.
I'm just glad you
about
guys are bringing it up.
percentage.
I appreciate that.
I mean, definitely, it's a what I call a college effort to try and, you know, address something.
You'd have to do it by percentage of what they're making now.
But is that
They were
the-
gonna issue a pay raise, and it's gonna be 10% of what you're currently earning.
And then offer a higher entrance,
Entrance
and then
amount.
do job, I still think you have to do job descriptions.
I think the money should go
I think we
to.
have to.
Because with the
Coach
job
says-
description,
But
we
like
can
your
offer
office
more,
and our
and we can do
office,
the
they all do
entry
the same.
plus a bump of, to
Yeah.
get it to current. That and the range, I like the range thing.
Well, and that, again, I didn't, I'm just.
Well, I think another thing that we need to think about is, I mean, if we set it up to where department heads like Ernie has leeway to give raises, I mean, there's gonna have to be some kind of cap on it. I mean, obviously.
Right.
Like,
And that's
we're
in the law.
gonna give his office $10,000, but he gives one employee all $10,000.
Right.
So, like 5% is the best raise you can get a year or something?
Right.
I mean,
But each
you know,
of the,
5%'s a great raise.
so
I
what,
mean,
to help everyone again, so employee salary scales with ranges, so that's the job description. This is
Right.
what I have, a job, and I gotta describe it. And then I have a minimum and a maximum figure for each of those descriptions. And it's with everybody within the county. And then the compensation within and between each salary range is based on merit. So like if you hire an attorney with 5 years, again, I know they wouldn't be a part of this, but with 5 years' experience, you offer this amount. If they've got 15 or 20 years, you offer a different amount. Then, of course, there's a range in there.
It's market driven.
Yeah, so there's a range in there, and then you have merit. Well, same 2 5-year attorneys aren't the same attorney. You know, if all they've done is title work, and then I want to hire someone to do criminal work, that's not the same person.
Right.
That's a merit. So then you have experience, education. Of course, I'm kind of out of turn on wage and benefit, just talking about how I would hire a lawyer, but education and then job performance. Those are just what's required in here, and then this flat rate got enacted 25 years ago.
So if we take this from the abolishment of that to the updating and revision of that, I think everybody could agree that that would be something to be palatable to try and work towards. So we actually follow that to the letter. The job description, I'll tell you something right now.
I think it's a must.
Yeah, job descriptions I think are a must. I think salary ranges are a must. I don't know that that's something you could determine, because I'm just gonna be like, well, you know, my folks get a pay raise, so I'm gonna bump it all up here and everybody has to come up into that. I mean, we would have to set and work on that collectively. So you look at your
Because
existing
all three of mine do
average,
the same thing.
you look at your existing average, then that's a similar range.
But there are
I can't give
statewide
them a different
ranges.
title.
I mean, we don't have to agree that everybody
Right, the same.
gets Kanawha County wages, because you don't.
Right, and that's the other thing.
But you could use that as an example, and then you got Fayette County and.
So I was given a handwritten example of employees. Please, if you're gonna compare counties, and I've seen this multiple times, look at the same class. We're a class 3
It's
county.
not here.
So I have one class 3 county on this example, which we are, and then class 1, class 1, class 1, class 1, class 1, class 3, class 4. So if you're gonna make a comparison, please make that the same class.
Yeah,
Because you're comparing apples to oranges at that point.
Fayette County has 6 lawyers
Right.
in their office.
And they're also a class 1 county.
Yeah.
So I was given an example of Mon, which is class 1, Putnam's class 1, Grant's 3, that's comparable. Berkeley 1, Fayette 1, Wetzel 1, and Boone 4.
Are we
And
saying
there
as
were 3.
Randolph, I think at one point we were both 3.
Yeah, we're 3.
The sheriff
off
has
the
one,
sheriff's,
yes,
yeah.
But I understand
Let's
that.
have that information.
So I can live with that.
2, they're
They are
Alliance,
class
yeah.
2, and we're 3.
So 3s are Logan, Morgan, Pocahontas, Upshur, Hancock, Ritchie, Grant, Taylor, Doddridge, Hardy, Mineral, and Lewis and Nicholas.
Correct.
If you're gonna make a comparison, please try to give us apples to apples. It's like me comparing living wages here versus cost of living wages in California. You know, it's a house, but it's two totally different spectrums.
But teachers make more in Northern Panhandle than they do anywhere else.
If you do that too, then you set your range or whatever, public, you all wouldn't know qualifications for who, like with the assessor's office, that have to come from.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think that's better.
I
I
think
think that's
what we're
better all the way
agreeing to do
around.
is the elected official or the department head drafts a job description and
Right.
puts a salary range on it.
Absolutely.
And then
All they're doing is supplying a month.
Right.
we're gonna
That's
offer
our only
them,
constitutional ability to tell you what to do here.
we can offer them the
Yeah.
job description and then what we think the range ought to be. And he's asking us, which I understand, to base it on the counties, make some phone calls, counties similarly situated. Because I guarantee you, and I don't, this isn't about these three commissioners, this is about 2.5 decades
Yes, sir.
of
Yes.
commissioning.
That's right.
The people here are paid way less than anywhere else. I guarantee, even in those other three class 3 counties, I bet they pay less. And that is-
Here, you mean.
Here. Now,
Oh, yeah,
I'll be surprised.
What
I
I
might be
was provided
surprised.
right here, all those counties probably pay more than we do. Same class county.
But we've lived under the structure, again, with a raise, I guess, that it was not 19.5 as starting anymore.
No, it's 2250.
The number's 2250, so that did change since I quoted
We
that.
got that a year or so.
Mark.
March. I thought it was last year too.
And then you're gonna have to look at averages. We're definitely gonna have to take averages in place. So if you take all your class 3 counties and you average out that, you average the number of employees, I mean, you can actually run some metrics and actually drill that down to a number that I think is commensurate with the position across the state. You know, if it's not something that's suitable for, you know, whatever your lifestyle is, I mean, I make a joke, I live in a 1974 single wide mobile home. I'm not trying to live above my means. So if I want to do better, you know, then I've got to obtain a job that does better for me or put myself in a higher qualified position. And I mean that sincerely.
Well, I'm willing to work on this one, and that's fine.
And the goal is just to see what we can develop out of this that actually is more beneficial to the employees, not the commission.
I think we can come back as county or department heads and elected officials and at least have some baseline. If we do a little work to figure out, maybe Paul Williams is wrong and we make the same amount of money as other class 3 counties.
And then the thing that I would ask, and this is just a teaming effort amongst the leadership, is be careful what you tell your direct reports. I mean, if you start setting some expectations that, hey, that we all met today and we're all going to get pay raises, that's 100% not true. And then all of a sudden we're the villains because we're trying to do something, you know, that's beneficial to the employees, that they, you know, we're getting a $2,000 raise, or I heard 3,000 or 6,000. You know, that we don't disseminate any information on that we're trying to review.
I heard they
Hold on,
trying to cut.
Ernie was gonna be.
Literally. The deputies get none, right? But I think a teaming effort will work here, and then, you know, and I think I would like to hear a lot more. I mean, some of these issues that were brought up, I was like, my God, I hope this stuff doesn't exist anymore. And if it does, we would like to know. I mean, it's not something we can do. It's your department head and you're elected that's gonna have to make these corrections.
Is that an updated class list that you have? Or
This one's here.
This is
Sheriff.
concerning the
These are-
chief
yeah,
tax
this is-
deputy and the civil
But it's got
process.
tax.
Yeah, this is chief tax deputy. That's
Yeah.
what that is.
No, I meant tax
I'll
class.
have to find it. I had one from our state auditor's training this spring.
Okay.
Yeah.
Current, I want a current
Yes.
classification.
Yep.
It's on our website.
And then on the
County.
Yeah.
It's on yours?
It's on the website.
Audio.
Which one? I was trying to find it.
Oh, that's gonna get a
Okay.
copy of it.
All right.
Makes sense.
He's a clerk, yeah.
I'll teach you how to use a computer. Ernie. It's a
But we
I don't
want to
want
work
to.
together and help is the point. Partnership.
Commission, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Yep, thank you.
That's what the assessor.
I'll go get us some
County
water.
always does too.
You need a typewriter, you can type that.
Yeah,
Hey,
I'll send him a text. He won't even get it.
the last prosecutor's the one with school.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be the next one?
You said it's on the auditor's site, is that the?
Oh, I gave him misdemeanors and then I made a job reference for him to get their job back.
That's what I was gonna say, because, I mean, I think something, I told Mike, something should be done like in this.
What is this?
So,
I don't
out of
know
all
if they got
chief tax
hired back.
deputies in the state of West Virginia, 55 counties,
Is the one ought to be charged. Because he's the one who told you to do
Well, a
that.
person.
47.
and I talked to her on the phone.
In my
And I
pay.
wrote her an email saying it was a matter as
And
close
I
as
mean,
far as
that's-
I'm concerned that I doubt they did it on
Some
their
of
own.
them are different classifications on
Yeah,
it.
okay.
so-
I got cookies up here.
But out of-
He my phone.
Want some coffee?
Can you help? Can you help? I said, look, I'm just a landowner. You know,
Well, you're just content as
No,
can
it's
I
be.
just
Yeah.
talked
Civil
to Matt,
process,
Matt
section
said he'd leave it up to me.
All class
That's
3
good.
counties, I make the list.
We dealt with them already.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's go get Ernie some information.
That's a good idea.
I'm going to.
Give me some information.
Yeah, all
Did you
class
provide
3
that
counties, I make the list.
That list, could you provide us?
That's that.
Different world.
And do the.
Get you a cookie while you're at it.
Trouble got.
That's our bribery, you know, that teamwork equals cookies.
Teamwork equals cookies.
That's right, it's long.
That's right.
Figure out what we're going to do.
It's up to you.
I'm good, thank you.
That's what I worry about.
I'll come pay my dog tax.
Just don't put us in a situation where we go broke and
No.
have to lay off.
We done rebuilt this county
We're
once.
challenging you. Before you leave, you need to get to.
And that's why I'm talking about the expectations.
We'll call it the Ernie's
Do
law.
not walk out that door
Yeah, that's
giving
what I'm
everybody
hearing.
expectations.
Right.
And there's gonna have to be some give and take
If
on that.
everybody wants us to team up with them, they need to team up with us at the same time.
Well, and I was gonna give
That's
an
the
example.
quagmire of the commission.
You know, if you look at a grocery store, I like to give Lay examples. Your carry out's not gonna make as much as maybe your clerk. Your clerk's not gonna make as much as your department head or your division head within the store.
Yeah.
So we can't, everybody's not gonna make the same amount of money.
Yeah.
And there are positions in my mind that require more qualifications, more, just more knowledge.
Yeah.
Entry level versus seasonal people.
Absolutely.
All right. I guess that's it.
That being said, we have not received the support letter for the trail system, so, but I mean, the story behind that is I gave them my commissioner email and everything else, so they had ample time to submit it. So either way, that does bring us to commissioner's comments.
So, just so we don't have to revisit this at another time, would it be suitable to make a motion that if you agree or we collectively agree with whatever's on the letter that comes in, I'm sure it's just they're applying for a grant?
Well, I can
Go ahead and sign
explain it.
that.
I can explain it.
You want to just do that, that way you can just sign it when it's done?
It's a little bit of supporting a grant, no financial contribution, and it is the Elk River Trail System, which technically doesn't necessarily come all the way into the county, but of course it goes along it. I'm sorry, no, the Meadow River. I apologize, not the Elk River. The Meadow River Trail, which of course is in Greenbrier, Fayette, and alongside Nicholas. And especially just basically be a support letter for the building out of that trail and them going after grants. So I guess, yeah, we can make a motion contingent upon those provisions.
Yep.
And if there's something else in the letter, then you can't sign it.
Revisit.
Yeah.
I'll make that motion.
Any clarification needed on that? Okay. That motion's on the floor. Any further discussion, questions, or concerns? And I apologize, I'm trying to remember the name of the group that's doing it. But it's the Middle River Trail System.
It's in the River Trail Lines.
No, sir. Gene Kessler's involved in it. I can't remember what group he is. But either way, any other discussion, questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor, wait a second, yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion does carry. Any commissioners' comments?
There's, Patty, can you see if an email came in from the health department that they were looking for a letter of support to apply for the, what's the thing, West Virginia First?
Oh, the West Virginia First Foundation for the
Yeah.
ICE. I don't remember what that's called.
Can you see if we got a letter that we need to sign?
Initiative, the ICE initiative.
Aye. But I don't know if they just sent it to them.
She said I'll send it.
Okay.
And comments, I would like to thank Gary Roberts for the exceptional job he's done in filling these trailers. Would you like to do a little commercial on getting people to drop off and what to do?
Yeah, as long as we've got the volume. I spoke with, I didn't catch his last name, his name's Tim, and he's one of the senior managements with Liberty Transport. And he says as long as we have them, can fill them, they'll keep them coming. I think, you know, if we have folks sitting there for a long period of time, it gets to a point where smaller trailers are better. But we have definitely want to thank everybody. We've sent out the first tractor trailer this morning. He should be arriving soon. We've got the second one about a quarter of the way full. There's a lot of initiatives going on in the county, and I definitely don't want to exclude it to one. We've got the one up on the north side with Liberty Transport. We've got the Coles down at the old Whitlock building. We've got the Good Evening Ranch is opening up an initiative this weekend during their Oktoberfest, I think they call it. Birch River Elementary is doing one. Friday night at Richwood High School, they're doing a challenge to the alumni to fill a pickup up, and I've worked with Tommy Coleman in Richwood. They're going to take one of the fire pickups over there, see if they can fill that up with supplies. And I think we definitely don't want to highlight and capture any one group, but just say that we're a very blessed community, and I think that blessing's being shared out to our neighbors in the South. And it's just a lot of hard work going on with a lot of people, and it gives me chills literally as I'm talking about it right now to see the outpour of support and just people want to help the neighbors, help the neighbors, even if it is another state. If you have anything you'd like to bring, please bring it to one of those locations and drop it off. We're looking for gently used clothes, a lot of baby items, just medicines, things like that. Bring them down, and we'll definitely take them and make sure they get to where they're supposed to go.
I've seen a lot about Benadryl.
Yeah.
Just like here, all of the Yellow Jackets were driving into the ground, and of course the ground was displaced all over. And so Benadryl is a big ask for these donations. Do you have anything?
Yeah, last night we were talking with the head of a state agency. If you're a company or a business that's looking to expand, there is some money out there. If you want to contact one of us commissioners, that we can, there's a good chance you can get some money for expansion right now. Ray, you might want to put that in the paper. But just contact one of us and we'll put you in touch with the right people.
And just to follow up for a moment, just a personal note on what Commissioner Roberts was talking about. We actually have relatives that live in Burnsville, North Carolina, and work in Asheville, North Carolina, which of course we know has been devastated. The community they live in, their house is on top of a knoll, and they were only one of 3 houses out of about 40 that are left in their own subdivision. And he's a fireman in Asheville, North Carolina, and that's the reason I bring that up is Commissioner Roberts mentioned the Coles. Proud to say that's actually my mother and father pushing that initiative, took it up on their own, and then a shared relative of ours will be taking it in a small truck. They don't like commercial vehicles in and out right now because of the condition of the roads, but he's taking a small truck trying to get it into Burnsville and Asheville themselves versus outside of. So proud son moment, appreciate what they're doing. And also just a note, we have been offered as a county, the Dixie First Baptist Church in Dixie, Nicholas County, West Virginia, has been offered to us by the membership there as a community center for a Homeland Security emergency shelter. This is a location that is used during the elections for a polling place, and I have not made it down there yet. I intend to before the next meeting. The director, John McGinnis of Homeland Security, went down, reviewed the property with the head deacon of the church, and I hope to before then, and he will be coming to the next meeting to give us a formal proposal, and we'll see what their total proposal is on that. But just a quick update on that.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made to adjourn this regularly scheduled meeting of the Nicholas County Commission. Today is Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024, and it is 11:27 a.m. Anything else? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, the motion does carry, and we do stand adjourned.